Most people spend 40 years working toward a retirement they never really planned for. I spent 2 years building mine down to the last dollar. And somewhere in that process, I realized the life I was planning for already existed. Better healthcare, lower costs, a pace of life that actually makes sense. The only thing between me and that life is 4 years and a plan that works, so I built one. I'm Vincent, I'm 57, I live in New Jersey with my wife and 6 cats and my 2 children, and in 2030, I'm walking away for good. This is the plan. Do you want to say hello? So let me tell you where I actually am right now. I've been planning for financial freedom and independence for quite a while now. I was an independent consultant for the past 15 years. But just recently, I decided to take a full-time job, not because it's the end-all or the final stop. It's actually a pit stop. And it just satisfied a couple of things, or a few things that were kind of important to me, at least at this time period. But I've got 2 kids that are planning to go to college, and the timing of everything matters. I'm running down the clock to a particular date, 2030, and that's when I'm deciding to hang it all up. That's not a dream. That's based upon calculated numbers that I've backed into, so much to the point where I wrote my own software because I was not satisfied with the output of software solutions that are telling me that I was going to be okay in retirement. I worry a lot, and my biggest fear is making a calculated mistake in the retirement calculus that could just torpedo my entire plans. And I just like everybody else, I don't want to be that guy. So I happen to have planned a life in Southeast Asia, and that really solves a lot of the questions, and it's also the plan that I envision of what retirement looks like. It's somewhere in a warm climate like Southeast Asia. I've been to Thailand and to Vietnam. Philippines is next on that list. I have no idea which one I'm going to end up in, but I will tell you this. The reason for this channel is really to figure all of that out. What I do know, having been there, is that the food, the people, really the pace of life, but also what's also important to me, the actual cost of living there, it's all there. It's not here. So I plan on ending the pit stop in 2030, maybe even sooner than that. But between now and that, that's what this channel is all about. So here's the thing that bothered me about these calculators. All of them, when I inputted my situation, all of them said that I needed to stick around or at least work until 65. The other thing that bothered me was I didn't know how to model my particular situation, which, if you recall, I was saying that I would have a life in the United States, but also a possibility of a life somewhere else, maybe in a foreign country like Thailand, which has a different kind of tax profile. The other thing I also couldn't figure out with a lot of these tools is, like, when I put in a certain kind of input into the system, I couldn't get the kind of result I was looking for. Like, I didn't know how changing one variable, like, for example, your age, or maybe even just a weird kind of event, like say, for example, you need to have a one-time expense. Like, how does that flow through to the model? Like, especially in the year that you want it to capture for some form of sensitivity. So all of those particular kinds of nuances just made me very wary of those tools, and I couldn't understand why. For example, why 65? Well, obviously it's because of Medicare, and I think we're kind of conditioned to believe that 65 is the retirement age because of Medicare, which is a complete fallacy, by the way. But why those assumptions? And why does every calculator always assume a life in a particular place, like the United States, is the same as a life somewhere else, like in Thailand, which is, I can tell you, it's not going to be the same. So none of those tools really met my needs, so I just decided I would build one that could. And so I made AiRA. And I built it myself specifically to my own particular retirement needs and my own particular planning profile. But what I recognize is that this is something I can give to the rest of the community that can meet your needs, because it's actually very configurable. And what I want to do for you is to show you a demo profile by the name of this profile's name is Mark Watney. It's a tribute to The Martian, if you've ever watched that movie by Andrew Weir. It's a great movie and great book. But talk about solving your way out of a pickle. That was quite a feat of achievement that Mark did. And I kind of equate the the retirement journey kind of the same. It's a pickle to solve through. So hence the tribute to him. But the real numbers are, my real numbers are kind of private, so I don't really want to show you that. I apologize for that, but Mark's numbers are very realistic. So don't consider this like a toy model. It's actually what I use a lot to do certain kinds of profiles without messing up my own profile. So with that, watch what happens when we keep everything the same, right? And all we're gonna do is change one parameter. And that parameter is gonna be where you live. It's the same retirement age, same portfolio, same everything, just one switch. Last year, as part of my retirement recon missions, I went to Thailand and Vietnam. And I can tell you that the gap between what I expected and what I found was fairly significant. The food, the people, the cost of a hospital visit. For example, I got a full physical with EKG, blood work, x-ray, on top of which I went to see a urologist as a specialist. But by the way, I scheduled that week. I just walked into the hospital. I didn't have to go to the doctor or schedule a number of different things over a period of months. It took like less than 3 days to get into. The cost of those 2 meetings was the equivalent of about $230 US. Yeah, that's not a typo. It's $230 US. That entire set of visits would have cost me probably, along with the deductibles, something in the order of like $400, $500. So it's a different lifestyle. The quality of life is very different. I saw people living in Hua Hin, in Bangkok, and in Saigon, and you can't forget about Chiang Mai. And it wasn't a compromise. It was truly an upgrade. It was a little different for sure because it's not the United States. It was just something I was used to with all the hustle and bustle. But in many ways, that matters because it was better, at least for me. And that's what this channel is ultimately about, not running away from something, but building towards something deliberately with your eyes open, but also with the math on your side. Here's what this channel is going to cover over the next 4 years. There's going to be 3 major topics that I want to kind of do. That's going to be really the general theme of this entire channel. So the first one is the financial mechanics of retirement, right? What does that mean for RMDs, Roth conversions? How do you set up your bucket strategy? What is the proper allocation strategy? Well, I'm going through all this myself. I'm trying to figure it out along the way, obviously with the constraint of trying not to make a catastrophic mistake. And so come along with me and I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. And I've actually started setting up a lot of this. I'm currently already starting what's called the bucket strategy, 3-bucket strategy. I have a couple of videos about that already. But also, what does it mean to set that up in terms of now, between this bridge period between now to age 60? The second thing is the logistics. And it's not the logistics of retirement necessarily, but the logistics of my goal of trying to be in a foreign country of Southeast Asia. Obviously, living somewhere outside the United States, if you've never really done that, especially as it relates legally, is a daunting challenge. So there's obvious considerations of, how do you get a bank account? How do you get your visa? What kind of mode of transportation do you do? Renting a place. All of these things that many people have asked in other YouTube channels, I'm going to actually taking you along with me and kind of answer that along for you. But here's the additional context. I'm a 60-year-old man with a family that's going to be either coming there with me or we're going to just rotate around the United States. I want to show you if that's even a feasible plan for you. And then you can model your retirement profile maybe on mine. Who knows? It could be a good pattern for you. But also, I want to walk you through many of the things logistically of, how to find an apartment. Something very, very important, I'll leave it at this with that, for this portion of the topic, is healthcare. I'm a firm believer, and I've tried it already, that the healthcare in foreign countries like Thailand, Korea, Japan, and I'm going to include China in that, are far superior to what you can get here in the United States, and in some cases, probably even better. But also, this is the thing that I think is going to astonish you, is that it's far cheaper. Like, you don't have to pay these astronomical costs. Cost doesn't equate to quality in those countries. Healthcare is a necessity that they offer to everybody in the world or in those countries, and they recognize that your health is important, but they don't gouge you like they do here, where you have this massive amount of uncertainty, which I'm going to actually state is probably some kind of engineering, societal engineering that they've got us believing. But I'll keep my politics to myself. The final thing I'm going to do for you is something that's going to be very exciting for me at least, and those are the scouting trips. So just recently I followed one of my favorite YouTubers who's actually gone around to 30 different cities in Thailand. I plan to do that for you as well, but only for several places that I really strongly believe are going to be great candidates for retiring into. But bear in mind, these are not places that I'm planning to go as a tourist. I'm actually going to go there and check it out as somebody who could potentially live there. And that's what I think is going to be fascinating about the planning and the scouting trips of it. I'm just going to take you along with me. We're going to have fun together. Go check out great restaurants, nightclubs, whatever it is to do fun over there. And you know, you're going to be along for the ride. So, in closing, I'm doing this whether the camera is on or off. This is my retirement goal. The exit is happening in 2030. But if you're tired of the traditional retirement narrative, tired of the traditional, okay, work until 65 to get Medicare, set up your RMDs, you know, all those things are important. But I think people want to understand, like, what is it that requires to be in retirement? And if you look at a lot of channels out there, it's not just only about the money, it's about how to set it up. And this is my setup. So if you actually want to buy back your time, then hit subscribe, because it's going to be one hell of a ride for me and hopefully for you.